So this time of year, a very common question we get is why an animal won't eat, in particular bearded dragons being one of the most popular animals. And so I feel like this is something we really want to address because the solution is often very simple, but a lot of times people make it very overly complex. So 9 times out of 10 when any animal won't eat, it's related to lighting, whether that be heat or UVB. Since we're talking about the bearded dragon specifically today, UVB is going to be one of the more important tips that we need to really look at when it comes to why the dragon won't eat. So with our bearded dragon cage right here, we're using an all-in-one light bulb. This is a mercury vapor bulb, which is heat and UVB all in one. So if these bearded dragons weren't eating, there's 2 things I would want to look at before I do anything else. Nothing else matters here. It doesn't matter what you're feeding them. It doesn't matter how often they're eating, the light cycle. None of that matters until we actually look at this bulb itself. The first thing that we want to know is what is the temperature in that tank. And that can be achieved a number of ways. Most people will use a standard dial thermometer and they have it stuck to the glass, the back of the tank. That's very inaccurate because that's giving you glass temperature. And our bearded dragon isn't living on the glass, it's living on the ground. So when you take your ground temperature, you want that thermometer to lay on the ground directly under the bulb. So if we're looking at this bulb right here, our thermometer will lay on the ground directly under the bulb. We have a temp gun that we use here. It's got this little laser, I don't know if you can see that. And we can actually point it at a hot spot and see what it is. So I'm actually going to get the temperature of the dragon himself. So the back of that dragon is reading 91.7 degrees right on the dragon. So a little bit cool right now, but they're still eating. Their ideal range is going to be between 90 and 100 degrees. And we're also right on the front entryway. So checking that temperature first and foremost will be key. This time of year, as your room temperature drops, typically your cage temperature will drop, and typically you're either going to have to raise the wattage of your heat lamp, or in this case we use a lamp stand where we can lower the bulb and make it a little bit warmer. We've got a solid 6 inches we could play with here and actually lower it down. So once you've checked your cage temperature and you know your temperature's right, if you're troubleshooting a bearded dragon or a diurnal animal, we need to make sure our UVB is right. Just because a UVB bulb turns on doesn't mean it's any good. And you could look at our video on UVB to kind of understand that a little bit further. But UVB bulbs do expire. They'll expire anywhere from 3 months up to 18 months out, depending on the type of bulb you're using. This particular bulb will usually last for about 12 to 14 months before it expires. So how do you know if your UVB bulb is good? Well, you don't, unless you use a radiometer. I don't know of any stores in our area that work with radiometers. We have them, so you can bring your bulb in. It's a free test, and we can see how much radiation is coming out. So to kind of show you how this works, your screen lid will filter UVB. So I can actually take my UVB reading right here, which you guys can't see it, but we're reading right about at the top of this branch, we're reading at about 78 microwatts. Can you see that in there? Yeah. 77 microwatts. Now check this out. When I take the screen off, that's going to jump. See how much higher that gets? So you always want to make sure you take the test in the environment that the dragon is going to be in. What we're looking for our bearded dragon ideally is 50 microwatts per square inch. There are some newer radiometers that aren't measuring in microwatts anymore. They're kind of dumbing it down, making it a little bit easier. Personally, I'm a little old school, and I like this guy. So, so your bearded dragon isn't eating. First 2 things you need to check are heat and UVB. Is your cage warm enough? If it's not, upgrade the heat lamp or lower the bulb. And again, big reminder on this, when you check that temperature, that thermometer must be laying on the basking spot. So on the ground, directly under the heat lamp. Don't put it on the glass, don't put it off to the side, don't put it under the bedding, put it where the dragon is living. Once your temperature has been fixed, get your UVB bulb tested. If you're not able to test your UVB bulb, a good rule of thumb, if it's a compact fluorescent bulb, replace it every 6 months. If it's a linear fluorescent, replace it every year. If it's a mercury vapor, about every 12 to 14 months, maximum on all of this. I can almost guarantee if your dragon isn't eating, it's related to one of those 2 things. Now, let's just say that your lighting is good to go. There's a couple other things we can take into consideration. First of all, what size tank is your dragon in? If you have a large dragon in a very small tank, that'll stress him out real bad and may stop him from eating. Second of all, this time of year, brumation is not uncommon. Brumation is kind of like a modified hibernation. So hibernation is when an animal burrows down and goes to sleep for the winter. Brumation is when they get basically slow. they slow down. I think we had a video that just came out a couple weeks ago about brumation, so you can check that video out. If they're not brumating, if the cage is the right size, then you can start to explore diet. If you haven't changed their diet, it probably won't have much to do with anything, but if this is a new dragon to you, your diet may be off. For a dragon that's under a year of age, we do primarily insects, being crickets heavily, roaches, and then some worms. With worms, you really have to watch the level of exoskeleton. Too much exoskeleton can impact them, which in turn would cause them to stop eating. And then on veggies, we basically avoid all lettuces. We do dark leafy greens, so turnip greens, mustard greens, collard greens, and then various squashes and whatnot. Lastly, if you've got an adult bearded dragon and it's not eating, it could be one of two things. One, it could be breeding season, in which case both males and females tend to shut down. But two, it could be a gravid female. Gravid means they have eggs, and when a female produces eggs, they will often stop eating altogether. If they don't stop eating altogether, it'll often slow down. So above all else, when you have an animal that's not eating, look at some of these factors. Time of year does matter, but always start with your lighting. Don't jump to conclusions that you need to feed them something different, or that that the diet is off. 9 times out of 10, it will be your lighting. So above all else, if you're really new to this, keep in mind that your animals do need a 12-hour light cycle, especially if it's a diurnal animal or awake during the day. So turn your lights on in the morning, and then make sure you turn them completely off at night. You can use a nighttime heat source, but any sort of bright, visually stimulating light that runs all night will keep your animal awake and could naturally affect the way that they eat. It's kind of like if you don't turn your lights off at night. If you have any questions, reach out to us. You can get us on Facebook or email us at admin@thetdi.com.